Good morning.
All right, I'd like to introduce to you one of the greatest switch hitters in baseball history. This gentleman spent 19 years with the Atlanta Braves. He's an 8-time All-Star with Hall of Fame type numbers. Helped the Braves to the 1995 World Series title. He knows NASCAR a little bit too, guys. He grew up in Pearson, Florida, not too far away from Daytona Beach. He is our Grand Marshal for today's Aaron's 499, Mr. Chipper Jones. Chipper, tell us a little bit about, we were talking just a few minutes ago that you've known about NASCAR a long time, back to your days of your childhood.
Well, I grew up about 20 miles inland from Daytona Beach, Florida, and I think when they revved the engines up, you could hear them in my backyard. To be honest with you, it was always a fun time being able to go over to Daytona twice a year. Back then, it was the Firecracker 400 in the summer, and obviously the big Daytona race, Daytona 500 in February. We always had a blast. It's where my love of NASCAR started. And this is actually the first time that I've been able to make it over here to Talladega. I've been a little busy for the last 20 years whenever they run the race, so it's the first chance I've gotten to come over, and man, it hasn't disappointed so far.
Tell us, did you have a favorite back then? Any favorites?
I was in the house for Richard Petty's 200th win. Ronald Reagan flew in on Air Force One. Richard wasn't my favorite, though. I was a Cale Yarborough fan. I loved Cale's grit and determination. He'd fight you in a heartbeat on the backstretch if somebody wrecked him. That was always something that I liked. But I always thought he had one of the prettiest cars, to be honest with you. That Hardee's 28 and the Valvoline 27 were some good-looking cars. Now, I've gotten to know so many of the racers over the years, going to drivers' meetings and going to Daytona so many times, walking up pit road. It's hard to put a finger on a favorite. I guess if you held a gun to my head, I'd probably say Jeff Gordon and I go back a long way. We've had some of the same representation, and he's got me some tickets down there in years past, so I'd probably have to say Jeff's my guy.
Cool. Let's open up for questions. Mark McCarter right here's on the pole. Well, we'll come back to you, Mark, right here.
Hey, Chipper, Doug Turnbull, WSB Radio in Atlanta. Okay, can you talk about life post-baseball and some of the cool things you've gotten to do besides going to Talladega now that you get to chillax a little bit?
Yeah, I'm knocking bucket list items off left and right now. I've been to Augusta, which I've never gotten to do. I've gotten to go turkey hunting for the first time in my life, on purpose anyway. And now I get to – I've always said, my love for NASCAR has never faded, and I've wanted to – hop in a bus or hop in a camper and do the tour. I've always wanted to go up to Bristol. Talladega was obvious. I'm a big either short track guy or a super speedway guy. I'm not real big on the mile and a half, but I'd love to go to some and continue to make the circuit as much as I can.
Mark McCarter on the left here.
Mark McCarter from the Huntsville Times. Chipper, does your bucket list include getting in a car at a driving school and taking a few laps, doing anything like that?
I've done it in Las Vegas, actually. I did it a couple years ago. As some of you know, I have a couple of outdoor shows on the Sportsman's Channel. I had one on the Outdoor Channel. So the big SHOT Show, for the outdoor industry was in Vegas, and we jumped in a car out there. And I think I got the most careful driver of the bunch because I probably went the slowest out of anybody. But I'd love to do it again. It's something that I think if I wasn't a baseball player, I would have wanted to be a race car driver or a country singer or something like that. Not that I can sing, but I can dang sure drive. I like to go fast.
Next question. Questions? Right here, one more.
Chipper, Doug Turnbull again. Can you talk about the excitement surrounding the Braves now? It's you're not getting to be on the team that has the Upton brothers and such, but can you talk about getting to watch it from afar and get to come in and coach a little bit?
Well, I don't know about the coaching part of it yet. I'm not quite ready to jump back into it, but I'm excited as a Braves fan. I haven't had that much trouble making the transition from player to fan. My day still revolves around 7-10. I look forward to watching those guys play. I still interact with them via telephone or text message or Twitter or whatnot. But they provide a lot of excitement so far. I know they're on a little bit of a slide right now, but too many good players for them to make it last very long. I think whenever you're on a winning streak like they were at the beginning of the season, you're not quite as good as that, but they're not quite as bad as they're playing right now. So, and they're I think they're 6-10 in their last 16. They're still in first place by a couple games. So they built up a big lead. Now they need to get Brian McCann and Jason Hayward, those guys healthy, and they'll be fine.
Questions? Bob, in the center.
Bob Hocker, Sporting News. Is there anybody's pit box that you're going to try to get to during the race to watch, or what are you going to do after you give the command?
That's a good question. I don't know. I'll probably be making the rounds, to be honest with you. Like I said, I got a great relationship with a bunch of people down on pit road, but I think Aaron's might have me up in the suite up top, so we might be taking the boys up and letting them experience it from up there. I'll tell you, there's nothing that beats. I used to watch from the stands when I was a kid down at Daytona, and I thought that was great. But getting down on those pit boxes, I've stood up in Richard Childress's tower with him there on the infield in Daytona, and I mean, being able to see those cars go all the way around a 2-mile or 2.5-mile track is that's a thrill for me. That's what I like. I'd like to be down here in the midst of it, but I have some people I need to shake hands with up there during the course of the day.
I'd like to thank Aaron's for making this happen today.
That's
Chipper.
right.
Marty Smith.
Marty Smith, ESPN. Chipper, when all you've known your whole life is the kind of the same routine, spring training, you play, and then you do your off-season thing. Obviously, life's changed quite a bit.
Yeah.
What's been the biggest revelation there for you, aside from these bucket list items you've gotten to do?
Well, like you said, it has been so regimented for the last 23 years. I've been living out of a suitcase, playing the game of baseball, and have loved every minute of it. But, I think now just the ability to be able to set up some roots, be able to see my kids whenever I want to. I got 4 boys, ages 15, 12, 8, and 7, and be able to go to games on Saturdays, be able to actually sit down and watch a race on the weekend from the drop of the green flag to the drop of the checkered flag. Most of the time on Sunday afternoons, I'm having to catch the last 50 laps on the radio driving home from the ballpark, So there's a lot of really cool things that I want to do, and that's why I think people are so surprised that I've had trouble, that I haven't had more trouble adjusting to life after baseball. I wasn't just a baseball player. I have a lot of other interests in life, whether it's NASCAR, whether it's deer hunting, whether it's coaching my kids baseball team, whatever. So I'm going to be just fine, and I'm having a blast thus far. I think the baseball season's not even 5 weeks old, and I'm having a great time not playing baseball anymore.
One more question up front. The question is, can you tell us about your day being Grand Marshal?
Well, I know that after this, we'll probably take some tours. I've never been to this facility before. I'm certain that we'll be in the drivers' meetings and probably the crew chief meetings. I can't wait to go out and be out there for driver introductions. That's always something that's really fun. Listen to the crowd, get into it. Obviously, the most famous words in stock car racing. I get to say those words today, and hopefully get to drive around the track once. I've never done that before, but and then obviously a lot of thank yous and handshakes up in the Aaron's booth later, and hopefully watching a good race. I don't want to see any big wrecks. We don't want any big ones today. We want it to be nice and safe and some good racing, and hopefully one of those Hendrick cars will bring it home. We'll see.
He's showing who he's pulling for today, huh?